Hey, good morning, Big Reds. It is Monday. Happy Monday. Today is Alumni Day. I got a short video I want to share with you all. I got an opportunity to interview Molly Christophersen. She is a Big Red class of 2011, former student athlete here at Muskegon High. I won't steal her thunder. Without further ado, we can go and check out the video. Go Big Reds. Molly, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing well also. Good morning. I know we briefly talked, and I talked about interviewing you to kind of share your story and your experience with our scholars here at Muskegon. And so just kind of wanted to catch up with you. So you are class of what again from Muskegon?
2011.
2011. Okay, yep. Cool. Sweet. And after Muskegon, you went on to Michigan State, correct?
Yes. First, okay. I went to community college for a couple of years, though. Okay. So I went to MCC, played basketball, and then I went off to Michigan State. Sweet.
Okay. So, as I said, our kids a good opportunity to see this. So I could just kick the interview off real quick, and you just like to start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Molly Christophersen. Like he just said, I went to Muskegon High School, went all through Muskegon Public Schools for elementary, middle school, high school, graduated class of 2011. And I currently am back in Muskegon working in a new job, an HR generalist role here at a small company in Muskegon. But it took me quite some time to get to this spot. After high school, started out at community college, played some sports for a couple of years, went to Michigan State, got my undergrad degree, and then found some work that I was interested in, but it led me to some different things, which ultimately led me to going back to school at Wayne State in Detroit for my master's degree. And that's where I most recently just came from. So I've been back in Muskegon for a few months now, got my job, kind of back settled in the city, and it's good to be back. So I guess that's a little bit of my story there.
Sweet. Thank you for sharing that. So you had mentioned some that we kind of talk to our kids about all the time, and you had said that it kind of took you a while to get to where you're at now. And it may seem like a while to us, but on the outside looking in, people are like, well, you got there pretty fast, you know. And so could you talk a little bit about your journey, any like bumps in the road? Mm-hmm. because ultimately where you're at, and you're extremely successful, and you're still young, and so, but in your mind, you feel like it took you a while to get there. So could you talk about like some of those bumps and highs and lows that got you to the point that you're at right now?
Yes. So first and foremost, when I transferred to Michigan State, I really didn't know even what I wanted to go to school for, and I had already been in school for 2 years. So I transferred to get into education, and then I changed my degree twice in 3 years while I was at Michigan State. So undergrad itself, they say it typically takes 4 years. It took me 5.5. So I already felt like I was behind. I changed my mind. I had some life experiences happen while I was at Michigan State that kind of threw me off kilter. And then when I finally decided what I wanted to do, it brought me back to Muskegon the first time in 2016. And I started working right away in the nonprofit industry, the Boys and Girls Club. I worked for the Boys and Girls Club for about 2.5 years, and I got into it, not really, I knew what I was getting into, but I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was on an admin side, and I ended up in that role discovering what I really like to do, and that was working with adults in the workplace, doing coaching and mentoring, employee relations, onboarding, training, but on the adult side of things. That is not what I went to school for. So that's what I discovered I like to do, and after being at Boys and Girls Club for 2.5 years, I had to make a decision on how I was going to use what I was passionate about to actually set myself up for career success. And I made the decision to leave there and find a job in staffing, kind of HR, to get my feet wet. And then I decided to go back to school for my master's degree. And that's what took me to Detroit. And then I got there and I finished that up in 2 years, but COVID hit, and that experience was nothing like I thought it was going to be. And that's how I ended up back here. I originally thought I would be in Detroit for about 5 years, but just some different circumstances brought me back to here, including work, family, COVID in general, and just some different things that lined me up to be back this way.
So I feel like there's a sense of pride there, class of 2011, which kind of drives me to my next question. When somebody says being a Big Red, or you're a Big Red, like what does that mean to you? If you could explain what being a Big Red means to you, what does that mean if someone asks you that question?
It's a tough one. There's so many things that go into being a Big Red, and I think I would say the two biggest parts are just pride and community. I think coming through Muskegon Public Schools and graduating as a Big Red, it's part of my identity, and I maybe could speak for everybody that's a Big Red and say it's probably the same thing. It becomes part of your identity. You know, it's such a community base. Being involved in the sports or band or academics, there's so many different things that you can be a part of at Muskegon. And so having that experience and allowing it to come with me to wherever I ended up after that, whether it was Michigan State or when I was over in the Detroit area, that brought with me the sense of community and pride that I knew I had grown up around a vast group of different people that were different from myself. And I got to have those experiences growing up with different people and knowing how to work on teams with people, communicate with people, having ownership and pride of where I come from and bringing that with me to wherever I go, knowing that whatever room I'm going to be in, I'm proud to be in that room because of where I come from, and I bring that confidence with me. And I would say that ties directly to the fact that I'm a Big Red.
So I've done about maybe 20 to 25 of these interviews, and every alum says the same exact thing: pride and community. And so I think those are two things that being a Big Red that you kind of hang your hat on. And so we try to teach our kids here, and you touched on it a little bit, like there's no other place like this. Like I believe that Muskegon public schools, Muskegon High School specifically, is a great place to be because you get people from all walks of life. You got the rich kid going to school with the poor kid. You got the middle class kid going to school. You got every race, every ethnicity here at Muskegon, and that's real life. That's what prepares you for real life, because when you get out there, you're going to work with people that not only look like you, you're going to work with people that don't look like you. You're going to work with people from all walks of life. And so I think Muskegon High School really prepares you for that when you leave this place. And so that which kind of drives me to my last and final question. I don't want to prolong this interview too long. I know you look like you're working hard back there, so I don't want to take too much of your time. So my last and final question would be, what advice would you give our young students as they go through high school and transition into adulthood, whether they go to college, whether they don't go to college, whether they get directly into the workforce or decide to start a family, whatever path they choose to take? What advice would you give them as they transition out of Muskegon High School?
I think you really touched on it, talking about the different paths. I think one thing you have to realize is it's a different path for everybody out there. You might be hearing this in high school a lot, could be from coaches, counselors, your parents. You've seen older siblings go to school or whatever it may be. There is college. There's community college to start. There are 2-year programs. There are 4-year programs. There's the trades. There's starting a family. There's getting into the workforce. There's all types of different paths that you can take, and just find what's best for you. You don't have to follow what somebody else is doing or feel obligated to take a route that people are pushing on you just because they think that that's the only way to go. Explore your options, because there's many other different options out there, and give yourself some grace while you're going through that, while you're trying to figure it out, because it doesn't happen right away. And I think we want to be successful. We want to get into things right away, and we want to see things happen like this, but it doesn't happen like that in the real world. It gets real after high school. So 1, enjoy the rest of the time that you have in high school, but 2, be ready for what's going to come next. You have to start taking care of yourself. You got to figure out how you're going to work and provide for you, for your family. So give yourself grace in that process. Don't beat yourself up. We all have a different journey. Figure out what your journey is and fall in love with that journey. Let the process take you where it's supposed to take you, because you're going to look back 10 years from now. So like me, we had our 10-year reunion this summer. You're going to get to your 10-year reunion, and you're going to look back at everybody you went to school with, and you're going to see, wow, everybody here took different paths, and we're in the same space together, still enjoying each other's company, and we're all different still. So just allow it to happen, and just be true to yourself and what you want to see happen for your life.
I wish I had a bell. You hit the nail on the head with that one. That was pretty good. So Molly Christophersen, class of 2011, Muskegon Big Red, MCC, Michigan State, Maine State for your graduate degree. Yep. And now you settled in your field doing your thing.
I am.
I love it. I cannot, in this video, I do this with everybody. We got to get a Go Big Reds on the count of 3, all right?
Okay.
So it's going to be a slight delay, all right? But I'm going to try to time it up so we got to go Big Reds with a fist pump, all right?
Okay, got it.
1, 2, 3.
Go Big Reds.